The Higher Education Minister, Blade Nzimande, has been criticized by the independent media. This is over a claim that he wants to keep confidential the findings of the auditor-general into the National Skills Fund. Now, the auditor-general found several financial irregularities, which include 5 billion rand that could not be accounted for. Well, Nzimande has rubbished these claims. He joins me now to clarify some of these allegations, and the Minister talking to us from Maritzburg this morning. Minister, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's start with the findings of the Auditor-General. Is your department worried at all that this amount of 5 billion rand still is unaccounted for? And how do you respond to that?
Good morning, Oli, to you and your viewers and listeners. Indeed, we are very worried about this story. Just to give you background, by the way, even before SCOPA called us, I had already taken a decision that I'm going to undertake a forensic investigation because of disclaimer that the 2018-2019 or 2019-2020 that the National Skills Fund had, and that no adequate records were provided to prove how the 5 billion rands was spent. Obviously, I'm very worried, and I took action immediately. I acted already to actually lay a basis for a forensic investigation. That's why I appointed the company that I actually appointed. But Claudia, I also must just say, I don't understand what this hype is about, except I don't want to divert. I know the agenda of the independent group. It's a group that is playing a very disruptive and factionalist role in our movement. That's why they do this after having properly explained. The fact of the matter is I'm hiding no report. This report we are talking about is already with SCOPA, in full, uncensored, as is, and is also with the law enforcement agencies. As a matter of fact, the Hawks have already appointed a person who is going to be dealing with the department to follow up on all the recommendations that are made in the report. We are also now in the process of taking action against staff members who are implicated in the report. Now, the reason why I had asked SCOPA and said to SCOPA, I would prefer that perhaps this report is not fully published, is not published, before we take certain steps, Tony, that are required by law and due process. For instance, if Colin Mgambi is named in a report and works for the Department of Higher Education and Training, he can't just see his name in the media being mentioned in SCOPA. We have to take action. There is due process. We are not a banana republic. We are a constitutional state. To inform the people, to say your name is being mentioned here, and these are the actions that we are planning to take before a person is able to see that. In fact, before I've lost cases, Cody, as a minister, by the way, on the grounds that I have either not followed process or I have not considered matters adequately. And then I said to SCOPA, use a particular rule in the National Assembly. The report is with you. Don't release it until we have actually undertaken certain steps, like the internal steps. And that also, we have handed this matter to the law enforcement agencies, who also follow their own processes. So all I was doing was follow due process. All right. I'm not hiding anything.
Okay, because the independent media, as you say, it seems to direct its attention to you not wanting this report publicized. Their view is that you are trying to protect certain individuals. Is that indeed your intention here?
There is no such intention. As I say, the report is with SCOPA. The report is with the Hawks. And there is no one I am trying to protect. That's what I was saying then, Claude. I need us to be blunt here. Unfortunately, the independent group is playing a very divisive and factionalist role in the movement. I know that I am one of their targets because I happen to be associated with President Cyril Ramaphosa. And I knew that this is actually the posture. There is no truth in this. In fact, I want to challenge them. They are telling lies. It's deliberate. disinformation. And it's a pity that it's a media group that is funded by workers' monies in this country, which actually has decided that it will play a factionalist role. It's deliberate disinformation that it is actually doing. That's why I've issued a statement to that effect and clarifying that. But I don't want to be diverted by them, Cody. I have to focus on what I'm focusing on without fear or favor. There is no report or whoever else I'm trying to protect. If anything, within 6 months, I've gone the furthest than many other such forensic reports have actually been able to go.
Well, let's talk
and
about...
I've said to Scopa, the Scopa said, no, we don't want to follow the rule of not releasing the report. It's fine. We have separation of powers. If Parliament decides to follow its own rule, that's okay. But as a minister, I have to follow the law. I have to follow due process. You can't
let's try and find then, Minister, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let's try and find then whether indeed you have followed the law as per your oversight duties. You wouldn't be sitting in a position where you are now worried that indeed such a huge amount of money is said to be missing. Were you doing your oversight duties as you should? For example, checking if indeed these students were being trained. Because if you haven't, that's a failure on your part.
Yes, Cody, I have. I want to tell you, by the way, that apart from this report, this matter of the auditor-general of a disclaimer comes after I had already, for just under a year, I had appointed a ministerial task team to investigate the operating model and functionalities of the National Skills Fund, because I was worried that the processes and oversight and implementation strategies of the fund leave a lot to be desired. That report has been completed now. It's sitting with me. I will be presenting it to the portfolio committee. I had already taken that initiative even before the Auditor General had such findings, because I was worried that the capacity of the NSF lifts. Let me give you just one example. For instance, the National Skills Fund is entitled to spend up to 10% of its budget on administration, which includes employment of staff, offices, running its affairs. But it was only using 4%, and that wasn't saving. There were posts that had not been filled for quite some time, some of them very critical posts. For instance, posts relating to supervision of projects in provinces were vacant. So all those things are things that I had already begun to do with, because I was concerned that these billions of rands in the hands of the Skills Fund must be used properly. We have a huge need to support and train unemployed young people, to support the placement of TVET college graduates, which is what we are doing. Yeah. So insofar as that is concerned, if you want to give me another opportunity to explain to you in detail those things, I'm more than happy to do so.
Well,
but this is what I had already been doing. Yes.
Because of time constraints, Minister. Let's try this part. Let's just try and tackle this element. Is it true that this investigation that you prompted through Nexus Forensic Investigations, it has brought up, or it exposes how 10 companies milked the National Skills Fund? And if indeed those reports are true, that is what this investigation has uncovered, it takes us back to the very question I've just asked you about your oversight duties. People will be asking, why should you keep your job when Ace Magashule is in the Free State, in the Bloemfontein High Court, over, in part, what people say is the failure in his oversight duties? An MEC here in Gauteng, not so long ago, had to let go of his job in the health department because of failure in his oversight duties. Why should you keep your job?
No, Cody, let's compare apples with apples and not apples with oranges. I've not been found wanting by this report.
Money is lost.
The Auditor General, no, the Auditor General's report said not enough information was provided by members, by staff in the National Skills Fund. Now, who are those officials? It's the Director General, who was responsible at the time, is no longer there now. It's the CEO that was reporting to him at that time, as well as actually the staff members. Now, as I've said to you, I already, before the Auditor General does this, identified that there are serious gaps in the National Skills Fund. And I appointed a ministerial task team, which has given me a report very detailed on what needs to be done in action. And as soon as the Auditor General's report hit my desk, I then acted immediately. Remember the actions that I took, by the way, is that I suspended the CEO of the National Skills Fund, and then I also requested the President to place on cautionary suspension the former Director General, so that when a forensic investigation is undertaken, they are not there because they were the people who were ultimately responsible. That is what I did. I didn't hide anything. I'm the one who took all these actions that I'm telling about you because I have nothing to hide. I have got no one to defend. And as I have already said, the report has been handed over to the Hawks as per the instructions of the forensic investigators, the recommendations of the forensic investigators, who have even been allocated a senior person in the Hawks to deal with this matter. In addition to that, Cody, I have also now started, have informed, and I'm in the process of suspending the other staff members now that are directly implicated in this report, so that then we prepare to take appropriate action. So compare apples with apples. I haven't. The things we're talking about, are people who were suspected, who are having their finger in the till and so on. I have done all what a minister is supposed to do. Remember also, Cody, I don't run this thing on a day-to-day basis. I don't run the National Skills Fund on a day-to-day basis as an executive in government. So I have to act on the basis of my judgment as soon as I get relevant information. Insofar as the Auditor General's report is concerned, I've acted, and I am acting now, and I had already taken actions to suspend people immediately after the Auditor General reported on this. So I have nothing to hide, and I've got nothing to be called to account for more than what I am telling you now.
All right. That's the Minister of Higher Education, Blade Nzimande. Thank you very much for your time. All right.